So with the Alaris pump, when we go to turn it on, we're going to hit the on button, and it's going to power up. Now, something that's neat with the Alaris pumps is that it can hold up to 4 of these channels, okay? Which means technically that you can have 4 primary IVs going at the same time, or you can have primaries and piggybacks going out of each of those channels, which is very nice, okay? So when you have your IV going, or you're getting ready to hang your IV, you're going to have to select a channel to program. So you're going to select channel A, and do we have any tubing or anything?
Yes. Behind you, behind the hand sanitizer should be
Perhaps we should have had all of this ahead of time.
poor Deb and a broken foot though.
Yeah, what did she do, by the way?
That I don't know.
Alright. So, with the Alaris pump, we're going to have our primary bag. Obviously, we are going to make sure that we can verify that we have correct orders, right? So we're getting ready to hang this lovely bag of potassium chloride for our patients. With the Alaris tubing for primary lines, they have special types of tubing, which is different from the plumb pumps. And I'll show you what's different about it. So you guys see how it has this lovely cover over the tubing here? This tubing here is different feeling than the rest of this tubing. This is more of a stretchy tubing. And when we go and put the tubing into this set, we're going to lock this directly into our lock area here. Can you guys all see that? Okay? And if we touch this tubing with our fingers, the oils on our fingers can contaminate this tubing, and the machine is so sensitive that it will actually start to alarm if you have too much oil or residue on that. So you have to be really careful when you're getting ready to put your tubing into the pump, okay? Just a side note, because it'll drive you crazy. All right, who can tell me how we spike a bag? Come on! Come up here.
You said tell.
Well, I am gonna have you tell, but you can show and tell. It's like fancy. We do it in kindergarten too, so it'll be so fancy. Open your bag. Fabulous. Oh, that's not good. Scratch that. Let me get you another bag. That was fabulous. That was a fabulous opening. I'm so proud.
Okay. Yeah.
This is going for me so well. You know what? So we're spiking a piggyback. We're going to pretend that this is a primary. So show us how to open that lovely large primary bag there.
Yeah.
It's all right. So you have the mad skills. There you go. All right.
Scissors in my pocket.
All right. So we have this ginormously large bag of sodium chloride. Okay, ginormous, 1,000 cc's, right? So when we go to hang that up here, hang it up there. Is that no? You're good. Okay. So when we go to spike this bag, what are we going to do first with our tubing? Any thoughts?
Have it in hand, ready to go in and take off the top.
Okay. Now, you took the
This
cap
is
off
over,
of that.
put this in the round.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that ever. Like, if you're my student, I'm going to
Then
hit you
never
if
do
you do that. So, what is important to remember about this spike?
It's sterile.
It is sterile. So what does that mean?
You can't touch anything else.
Right.
While it's going.
Exactly. So, before you do anything with that. Where are we going to stick that in this bag?
Where this is.
Okay, so how are we going to do that? Fabulous. All right. Now, before you spike that, let me give you one piece of advice so that you don't end up looking like you've peed all over yourself or you have, spilled something all over you. Yes, yes, and that would be really weird for you, right? So, whenever you have IV tubing, it is packaged open, all right? So before you ever stick the tubing into an IV bag, you need to close the roller clamp, all right? Or you will have lovely fluid running all over the place. I don't like those bags, Jen Ellis.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead and spike that. How are you going to do that? Sometimes I find that twisting and pushing is effective. There you go. Good. Very good. Now, how do you know that you have actually accessed that bag? Okay, so you have a drip coming out. Also, this portion right here is called your drip chamber. You can also squeeze it and get a little bit of fluid in that drip chamber, and that'll let you know that you're in the bag. Okay? So, now we have this whole set of tubing. Are we ready to connect it to the patient? You have to prime it. Why do we need to prime it? Right, because that would be bad to bolus them with like 10 cc's of air, right? That'd probably be a bad thing. How are we going to do this?
Yeah, you're going to take that off.
You get to be the next guinea pig. You
There
did
is
an
no
awesome
just-
job.
Grab that trash can.
All right. I highly recommend trash cans for people who are newer at IVs. Once again, it prevents the spilling of the IVs all over you. Okay, so it's Stefan, right? Okay, Stefan, what am I going to do? Okay, so I'm going to take the cap off. But knowing that I'm taking that cap off, what do I need to be aware of? It is sterile, so what does that mean? Okay, so we want to be cognizant of where that is at all times. Now, what are we going to do with this tubing? Okay. Okay. So where's your fluid? Okay. Just checking. All right. Close it, close it, close it, close it, close it, close it. All right. Now, my recommendation for you on this. First of all, you're always going to want to check and make sure that you don't have a lot of bubbles in your tubing. Secondly, if you're newer at spiking and priming lines, you might not want to open the roller clamp all the way, okay? If you open it just halfway or a little less than halfway, that's going to allow you to really control that flow, and so you can see the level of the fluid in your line as it's going down. Because, if you have just a sodium chloride, which I said that's what we've got here. This is our primary bag. It's a really small primary, but it's our primary bag. But say you had this piggyback and you were hanging an antibiotic. Would we want a lot of the antibiotic while we're priming tubing to be dumped in the garbage can? No, because what would happen if that was the case? Exactly, they wouldn't be receiving the correct medication. Okay, so we've got this tubing primed. I'm going to have you hold that for me. You're doing a lovely job holding that for me. Okay, so who wants to be the next volunteer? What's your name? Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca, you are going to put this into our lovely machine. Okay? So first what you need to do is you need to take off the covering, and it just kind of pulls off. Fabulous, and you can pitch that. All right, good that you're holding above and below. Yeah, as long as you just don't touch that stretchy part, you're good. Push it until it clicks. Good. Okay, then you're going to close it and push that down. Good job. All right. Yeah, thank you very much. You did a fabulous job. All right, so now that we have our line secured in here, we can open it first of all because nothing should leak because the pump is holding it all in place, okay? We're going to go through this lovely round of questions that the Alaris pumps asks you. This is a very smart pump. So, is this going to be a new patient? You're going to answer yes or no. I'm going to say no, and we'll see what happens. Okay, and then the Alaris pump allows you to be IT at your hospital can track wherever all of the pumps are, okay? So it's going to ask you what floor you're on. For this purpose, it says it's confirming that we're on the acute care floor. So we're going to confirm yes. And you use these arrows. It's not a touch screen, okay? Sometimes that's, you know, with the iPad and everything, you're going to be used to trying to touch the screen. All right, then it asks you to select your channel because we have two channels here. So we're going to channel select A. All right, and it asks you what we're going to do. Are we giving guardrail drugs, guardrail IV fluids, or a basic infusion? We're giving the basic infusion. What's your name? See what happens when you answer questions. You get to be a participant. It's so fun. So hit basic infusion. Okay, now the rate that we are running this IV. So we have checked our orders. Yes, we have. And so what rate are we infusing this lovely sodium chloride IV? Okay, that sounds lovely. That's what the doctor ordered. So you're going to hit the rate button. It's that one. Good. Now type in 30. Great. Now, VTBI, any guesses?
Volume to be infused.
Correct. So volume to be infused. So we have this lovely 1000 cc bag here, you know, that we see hanging. Okay, so when we hit volume to be infused, let me tell you what I do. Now, if you put 1000 in, that is going to run your bag completely dry, okay? I would even be happy if you put 950 because you can always come and run a little extra in. But that way you have a little leeway before you have to change your next bag. So type in 950. All right. Now, then we would take our lovely IV. We would go over to our patient, clean their area with alcohol, connect this. Make sure that everything is unclamped. Is this unclamped? Yes, and you can check by rolling it up and down because if it's clamped, it ain't rolling anywhere, right? Make sure that your patient's IV is open and able to receive the fluids. All right, so we check that. It's lovely, right? I'm a wonderful patient. And then you're going to hit the start button. Let's see if I'm infusing. It's going to be slow because it's only at 30 an hour. Do you see, though, that it's starting to form a drip up here in the drip chamber? That's one way that you can check and make sure that it's running. You can also hear the pump running. Do you hear it running? Okay, so that's yet another way. Ah, there we go. We dripped. Yay. So that is how you set up a primary and a line and then a Alaris pump.